Hello everyone, I am Bobbi Rowntree and I am a spiritual medium. Being a spiritual medium means that I can communicate with the dead. I can hear them, I can feel them, and I can see them. Most people can see, feel, or hear their own dead people. I have the privilege of being able to see all of the dead people. Well, at least all the dead people who want to be seen by me. To be a medium means that I can see, hear, and feel the dead. I have always been able to see, hear, and feel the dead, yet that is not what I have always known that I was able to do. As a small child, it was more an affliction. I would see faces randomly. I would hear voices. I would see monsters coming, running at me. The monsters always kind of look like the Sesame Street monsters, with the great big noses. Not the Cookie Monster. I now realize that possibly those monsters were energy, and that's what I would see, is that when we die, we don't continue to have the meat suit that we walk around in. We actually out of it, that's why it's still here. And then we are just energy. And when I see the dead, when I'm doing a reading for another person, oftentimes they will personify or display themselves in a way that probably describes more of their energy than it does describe them as a human being. I have seen people come through to me as quite huge, and that's not to say that they were fat when they were alive. It is more that they have a very large energy as a human being. So it makes sense to me now as an adult medium who has a heck of a lot more control of her brain, that those monsters could very possibly have been just the energy that those dead people were presented as because they were dead. They weren't in their meat suits anymore. I think that somehow, some way, when the dead would try to bring me into their field of communication, they would actually bring my little tiny 5-year-old brain out of what I call the earthly realm and into what I would say, I think purgatory might actually be the best way to describe it to people, as a space between life and death. But purgatory is a bit of a misnomer for that, because it's not a sad place. It's almost as though sometimes when the dead come to visit, it reminds me of Sesame Street. The skit on Sesame Street where you hear the door open, you see the light, and then you hear the footsteps, and then you see the eyeballs. That's somewhat like what it's like when the dead come from the other side, come into somewhat of the safe place, the neutral zones. Upon discovering yoga, I slowly but surely found my way into meditation. And when I found my way into meditation, I found my way into being able to control how the dead speak to me. And that's when I discovered my chakras, and I discovered that there are ways in which that I can control my gift so that I could actually hear the dead communicate. Because up until then, mostly it was a lot of because the dead don't communicate clearly. They communicate more like animals do. They communicate with feelings, innuendos, physical movement, things like that. The experiences that I have been through in my life have given me a very, very high level of empathy for those who have come to me with loss. I have lost a lot of people in my life, and I know death quite intimately in that way. I know how hard it is, even if you know where they go. I know how hard it is, even if you think you can see them, feel them, and hear them, and I know you can. It is so difficult because death is somewhat beyond our understanding. I talk to the dead every day, and I don't truly and absolutely understand what it is to be dead, because I can't understand what it is to be dead, because I am still hindered by my mind and my meat suit. So if I can help even the tiniest little bit so that people can figure out a way to communicate with their lost loved ones, their spirit guides, and their higher self, then by gum, I'm gonna do it. Now I am actually able to ask which specific people will be coming through my head. I am able to channel their information coherently, and I'm able to actually help people communicate with their lost loved ones, because death sucks and it's a terrible thing to have to go through. And it really, really, really helps you navigate the mourning process if you are able to know that your loved one isn't really completely and truly gone and lost to you, that your loved one is actually just in another room where you are unable to access them. Thank you so much for listening today. And if you would like to get in touch with me, you can do so on my website at www.trinityyogaandspiritualservices.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you want to watch the next one. Namaste.